Hey everyone, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Pokemon. This is turn 33. Let's jump in. Okay, so a whole bunch of stuff going on. Well, it looks like a whole bunch of stuff going on, but there's a lot less than you might expect. So we've done Alteration 3 and Alteration 4 this turn. Done a bunch of site searching, but we didn't find anything. Didn't find any blood slaves, etc. We had a battle in Wellrid. We're just gonna pop at this. This is just the Steelix moving off of Omicria. He just, crushes through. No big deal. We have taken control of Omicria, right? Because we were trying to see if he was gonna sit there. He did not. So we've moved there, taken it back. That means that our fort is A-okay. So that's good. Unexpected event in Junal. We've got magic +1. Men have been lost in the woods. Locals say a dryad has lured them. A nature mage may be able to cull some secrets from her. That would be cool, but we don't have any nature mages, unfortunately. And then we have assassination attempt on Irma, which is unsuccessful. That's nice. We have an unexpected event in Debrithia. Shiny wild Pokemon are appearing in the province again. Searching may find even more. So this is what we had talked about previously, right, is the shiny event. One, you lose a lot of mages to it, which is frustrating and inefficient, right, for what you're getting. And then, even if you do follow through with the chain, you end up getting attacked later on by a shit ton of shinies. And so they have come in and they have wrecked our PD, so we have lost this province. Move in to take it pretty quick. But in Kodakar, we got a lab, a bunch of gems, and an amulet of resilience. So that's actually pretty nice. So, and then in... Oh, this is a attack against Olivine by some villains. And they won. Barely, but they won. So, cool. And then we have breached the entrance to Saffron City. We got a bunch of promotions, and we actually did succeed in getting Helmet Sappers. So let's start there, actually. We've got a bunch of stuff going on this turn. Let's start there. You might notice that I am moving Helmet Sappers instead of using them here in Impassable Mountains. And that's because I can't use them in Impassable Mountains. I don't know why, right? He has the Mason trait, right? So lead the construction of more advanced forts than would otherwise be possible for the nation. I thought Masons always meant you could upgrade a fort to the next level, right? Past what you would normally be able to do. But apparently you can't upgrade these wooden forts. So I guess that is what it is. So we are going to be moving him down to deal with the shinies in Debrithia. He does come with a bunch of sappers, which are crossbows and pickaxes, with actually a siege bonus. These guys actually siege for 6, which is pretty cool. But we're going to move them in to Debrithia along with a little force from Yulzar, just to take that province back. And then we're going to try to move him down to Cyanwood and see if maybe he can upgrade this fortification, right? Because this is actually a fortress. Maybe he can upgrade this to a citadel or something. Who knows, right? Maybe he just can't do it on these forts, and we'll have to see elsewhere. So, in Saffron City, we are storming the castle. Now, he does have a Simios, the Steelix champion here. And he has a little force here of Pinecos, Fortresses, and Steelixes. Also, keep in mind, right, he had that force previously of Pinecos and Scissors, right? Which I think may have gone into Saffron City before we attacked it. So it's possible that he brings all of these forces to bear in Saffron City, and we run into a bunch of stuff. So I have slightly altered the layout of the forces here. Not by much, but we've slightly altered it. And we've slightly altered our scripting to see what we can do, right? But I think the plan is still just storm the castle, right? I could retreat, I don't think that gates us anything. I think we have... I think we likely have an advantage here. We've just got to see it through, right? So we're going to see how it goes. We could bring Urborn in to try to support, but I think in the grand scheme of things, Urborn's not really going to add too terribly much. We've put the Amulet of Resilience on him, by the way, just because he doesn't really have much reinvigoration otherwise. I say he doesn't have much, but he had 3 reinvigoration. And now he has Summon Earth Power, Blessing, Temper Flesh, Iron Skin, Earth Might. But I think he's going to be better as a counter raider instead of trying to support this army. Because I think he's just going to kind of get lost in the mix of the army. So we'll see. And this might go fine. Who knows? But this might be a very bad decision. We might lose a whole lot of troops. We might lose Chuck. So I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes. What else are we doing? Well, we've got a pretty big spy network up here, and I think we've made the decision that we're going to push that a little bit more. Right? We are getting 3 more Battle Girl rubies. And we're probably going to continue to make Battle Girl rubies in Kunal for at least another couple turns. And the reason is this. 1, I really like detailed information. 2, these fucking instilling uprisings is potentially going to cripple Olivine on its own. If we watch the score graphs, we come in here and we go to like income on Olivine. Olivine's income is starting to drop, and they're not really losing provinces. Like if we watch their province count, they're dipping just a tad, right? But comparatively, their province, their income is dipping a lot. And if I have a small army of battle girls, basically instilling uprisings across the entire country, right? Start hitting some of his bigger provinces. That's why I'm moving this one over here into the Banded Hills, because I think it's probably likely one of his bigger provinces. We could make it extremely difficult for him to do anything, basically. We could cripple his income and make it all but impossible for him to fight. Because he can patrol things out on, like, his capital, sure, but he can't patrol things out on every single one of these locations. He's got so much invested into these Steelixes, right? These Steelixes are the big deal, and he's got several of them. But they can't patrol things out. They're not patrollers on their own, right? You go over to Wellred. This guy's not patrolling shit out. He's got a patrol strength of 2.8, you know? Sure, he'll kill or survive against almost anything that he comes across, but he's not going to find spies. And we have cheap, flying, very stealthy spies that we can just flood into his lands and just nuke his economy, basically. So this is kind of like raiding, right? Like Violet City would do or something like that, but it's so much more insidious, right? He has so little option on what to do, because at least with the raiding, you can counter raid, right? You can just go in there and be like, okay, well, you know, you're raiding me, but I'll just take the provinces back, right? You hurt me, but you don't hurt me drastically. This is, you can't take the province back, right? You own the province. You have to patrol the spy out and patrol the unrest down. It's just a shit show. And it would be another thing, right? But scales-wise, I don't think, like, I don't know if I can tell his scales. These his scales? Yeah, maybe? Probably. So it looks like he has order, right? So he probably is... no, these can't be his scales. He has way too... These are someone else's scales. Whose scales are these? Are they like... These still like saffron scales, maybe? I think these might still be saffron scales. I'm not sure. Regardless, right, like, he's going to have a hard time dealing with this. And I'm already on most of his forts, right? And now I'm going to just start flooding into regular provinces, and we're going to start, we're just going to start nuking his economy. So that's one thing that's going on. What else is going on? Well, we're going to start counter-raiding. It looks like he's pulled a Celix over here into Violet City's territory. He actually, hey, I found Violet City. I jumped over it multiple times. You know what? I probably found it earlier. I just didn't realize I had found it earlier. But Violet City has been right here this entire time. And unfortunately, they have been right next to this frickin' Giraffarig throne province for eternity. And he's probably just like, oh my god. Also, Violet City has been here, right? Like this whole area. And he's come down here. He's come over here. He's all the way up here. Violet City has been huge, but if we watch the province counts, right, Violet City is starting to nosedive on province counts. And watching his income as well, actually that's kind of leveling, so never mind. Oh, that's his gem income. Hold up. His income is not leveling. His income has tanked. So that's something to keep in mind too. Okay, what is happening in other places? We're recruiting some people up here. We're forging a crown of command with our schoolgirl, right? We want a crown of command actually to toss over to Aoila because she is at the cap for her training. We want her to be able to train more. She's eventually going to unlock more leadership on her own. I think the last batch of leadership she can unlock is 180, right? But then a crown of command is going to give her another 50, so she'll be at 230 compared to 140, right? Which is pretty awesome. And it's an important thing because we're going to start running. Well, I say we're going to start running out of space. Right now, we're actually not recruiting very many Mareeps. But we're about to, right? Because we're about to get our first couple of Ampharoses. And as long as everything is still working, fingers fucking crossed, man. Fingers fucking crossed that the patches haven't broken this. Because they've broken several other things. As long as the Ampharos still works the way it's supposed to, and as long as the Flaffies still evolve into the Ampharoses, next turn, we are going to start getting our first couple, I say couple, several actually, Ampharoses, which means our income, which is only about 500 right now, is going to start to skyrocket. And we are going to pour a lot of that back in. The Impassable Mountains is basically going to stay as an Ampharos factory. To the point to where we are probably going to have to start moving Ampharoses to other locations, or we are going to have to start making supply items in the Impassable Mountains, because the growth for the Impassable Mountains is probably not going to keep up with the amount of Mareeps that we're going to want to produce, right? So super excited about this next turn. Fingers really fucking crossed next turn. By the way, we're also recruiting another Crush City girl, or a City Crush girl here as another leader, because we do still have the Poke School here, which is for experience. And if Aoila is if we can cap her out and keep her capped out, right, then it is actually worthwhile to have another commander running more Mareeps into a lesser school, just to keep the cash flow going, right? So we're going to see how that goes. Over in Viridian City, we're doing a number of interesting things. We are moving Wigglia back with some ferrets. We are moving some nurses out to preach over in Erd and Titan Steps. We're moving Dinya back to do some more research. Ekis is coming back with some more Mareeps. And you can see we are moving Robodan out. So we are moving Robodan out These guys are very close, right? And you get 1 experience a level anyways, so all of them will level except for this guy next turn. They will level anyways, and that guy will level the turn after. He does only have these 2 guys which are leveled. All the rest of these guys are 1 experience, so they are only bodyguard 1s. But they are bodyguards, so they're less likely to die, and they're more likely to survive over the long run. So we're gonna leave them as is. I think we need the second army moving. Robodan's been fully kitted out with his MR gear and his Ring of Warning. He is up to 17 magic resist. First thing he will do is Iron Will, which should give him another 4, right? So he'll be at 21. And then the second thing he should do is Divine Blessing, and that will give him another 3. So he should be at 24 magic resist relatively early on in the battle. So hopefully that will be enough. And then after that, he has regular stuff. And we're just banking on, free spawn Machamps being OPOP to do the damage that we need them to do. So he is going to head into Ministra, and then he's probably going to head up through 3 Pine Grove, depending on the situation there, because we might actually start moving in a route towards Violet City. I'm in open discussions with Violet City about his situation to see what is going on, and if he needs, I might actually be marching northward to relieve the siege of Violet City, basically. So we're gonna see how that goes. And what else are we doing? We've got a bunch of stuff going on here with the Team Rocket commanders, right? We are moving a guy into Ministra to start blood hunting. We need some success in blood hunting in Dathan or Ministra. The sooner the better. If we can get some blood slaves going, this is going to be a very big thing. But we gotta get them first. So that's gonna be the pain in the ass, right? Is getting some blood slaves going. So with that being said, we are going to try to get that up and running, and we're gonna do it probably a turn or 2 in advance of Wiglia being ready to actually start patrolling there, which means we're gonna take an income hit in Ministra. The Unrest is probably gonna get kicked up, but it does have a 27 already, so it has Unrest reduction as is, and it is finally under our influence from a Dominion standpoint, which means hopefully it is going to start ticking up into the order side of things. That is another reason why we're moving our nurses out into Titan Steps and Erd, so we can start pushing our Dominion a little bit, because I would like to be able to, 1, our Dominion is a little bit better than what's going on over here, and 2, it just makes things easier for stuff like this. So we're gonna try to focus on that. We are continuing to try to blood hunt down here. We have our first acolyte down here to start boosting up the defense of the province. Just gonna see how that goes. We're producing more. We're gonna put one on Impassable Mountains. We're gonna continue to produce more, etc. Right? We already talked about Impassable Mountains mostly. And in Cyanwood City, what are we doing? Not much differently, truth be told. We're doing some Quick Ball, Pokeball production, more Lightless Lantern production. We're doing some Owl Quill production still. We're actually going to start casting some auguries on specific locations, right? We're casting an augury specifically at Hobergdorf. We just have so many fire gems, and fire is one of the ones that we're not being able to search with a 3 of. So I want to basically start hitting places that are going to be far away from Vena, or places that we just haven't done, like Griffin Rock, or there was another place, I think. Oh, it was Omicria. Probably not Omicria for a while until this front settles down. But basically, we want to start using augury just to confirm that we are... It's just a more efficient number of mage turns at this point, basically. And we're probably not going to spam it for eternity, but we're probably going to do it for a little bit. Unfortunately, we don't have an Air 2 to be able to do that with Air on, because I would really like to be able to do that with Air. And we have almost no way to search for Astral Death or Nature yet. We will as soon as... I mean, I guess technically we do with the schoolgirl, but she's busy forging things right now. Eventually she'll be available to do stuff. But if we can get Three Pine Grove back and we can get another schoolgirl out of there, we can get a fort on that to protect it and start producing more schoolgirls, then we can actually start doing astral probing. And that's actually the reason why we're dipping. We're still trying to hit Enchantment 5, but then we're going to dip into Evocation 3 just to get astral probing. And then we'll go back to Enchantment 6 to try to get to Earthblood Deepwell, which we are still making motions towards, but again, that is going to be a long time. And you may have noticed, again, we do not have a Water Battlegirl X. I was so frustrated earlier that I actually went and I uploaded the mod to the mod inspector and I double-checked all of the stuff on the Battlegirl X's just to make sure that it wasn't just wrong, that the codes actually all matched up and a Battlegirl X could actually indeed random water. And they can. They absolutely can. I have just been incredibly unlucky. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Battlegirl X's. When we have a 33% chance on the first random, 33% chance to get water on the first random, and we have a 25% chance to get water on the second random, which is a 50% random. So we are just being extremely unlucky at this point. It's kind of, and it kind of feels like this has been that weirdly swinging like luck game where we are ridiculously lucky, and then we're ridiculously unlucky, and then we're ridiculously lucky, and then we're ridiculously unlucky. Because like the first couple turns, right, we get Chuck, we get multiple Lutadoras, and everything is just massively going in our favor. And then we just get a horrible, horrible, horrible placement, right? The river messes with us. The placement of the other nations messes with us. We get absolutely garbage provinces nearby us, right? Really horrendous stuff. But then we get a bunch of luck events and we get into a really good early war, and all of that is super lucky. And then we get into this scenario where it's just we get these dry spells of just we need the access to certain things, right? To be efficient. And then it's just nope, 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 nope. So for right now, we are going to try yet again to get one more shot at a water random on a Battlegirl X. If we do not get it this turn, that is going to be 12 Battlegirl X's that we have not gotten a water random on. And at that point, I am probably going to have to stop for a little while and start producing Karate Kings, because I need Karate Kings to get the chance for double fires, double airs, triple or quad. Really what we're looking for is quad earth, right? Because that stuff is going to break me into other higher, more important things. And I just don't, I can't keep wasting time on the Battlegirl X's. We're probably going to have to return to them eventually, because eventually I'm going to need the water random to efficiently make low-level water gear. But I think at this point, that time is pretty much past. Like, the time in which I would want to have done that is probably over now. At this point, it's probably just going to be more efficient for me to start producing things like City Swimmers and just use them. and basically use water bracelets to have them all be water 2s and go from there, right? I would love to be able to forge some water bracelets on the cheap, but if I can't do it, I can't do it. So that's what we're doing right there. We are also, we're getting close to filling up on Denethia, right? And I think Denethia has reached her maximum as far as leadership bonuses go. So she's going to need a crown of command as well, pretty shortly. So we're probably going to make another one next turn for her. And then we have Yulzar, who is moving out. Same script, no gear, right? Because we haven't. He's not really ready to actually do anything. But we are gonna move out and support Helmut in retaking Debrithia, just to make sure that everything goes okay. I think 15 times 1d6 Machokes, because he's got all of the blue belts. I think 15 times 1d6 Machokes is probably going to be plenty to take out the Machops, but just in case, right? And I think that's about it, right? Our research goals, let's take that. Let's take a look at that. Score graphs, research, we have finally done it. We have surpassed Cinnabar City. And the way, if you watch our curve, right, you watch our curve up, it looks like Ekrutik is dipping just slightly, and we are curving up. So we might actually be on our way towards actually catching up with Ekrutik, which is important, because I think basically Ermor Therados on steroids having the highest research in the game is gonna be a problem for everyone else in the long run. Abso-fucking-lutely. Especially since they also have the largest army size in the whole fucking world. So. Who is this guy? Who is that? Is that... No... So that was Viridian. Is it Goldenrod? It's Goldenrod. Okay. It's Goldenrod's province count. Goldenrod is actually like, really bad research, Goldenrod. Really bad research. I wonder what they've been doing. I don't know. Probably had an early war, but it looks like maybe they didn't lose the early war outright, so maybe they're kind of clawing back. I don't know. Alright, so that is pretty much it for the turn. Very exciting turn next turn, right? Really excited to see what happens with Chuck. Really apprehensive. Really excited to see if our Ampharos factories are actually Ampharoses and not something else. I would be very, 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 very sad. We'll see how it goes. Really excited to see our research continue to ramp the way that it has. And everything is not coming up aces, right? It's not all going perfectly as planned. But it's going okay. Like it's still... We're getting fucked on these water randoms, right? And we're getting weird scenarios like this with the Steelix crossing into Giant Spide without there even being a connection, right? I think maybe what it was he actually like moved down here, right? Stealthy, and then he moved over here. And this was just a different Steelix that came down onto Omicria, right? But I'm very intrigued to see how this all begins to shape. I think if the Ampharos stuff works and our factories come online next turn, I think we're gonna start to see some crazy shit. And I think the Battlegirl X spam, I think that is actually really going to work out for us in the long run, especially if we get a good situation going, because again, we might still kit out a couple of these to be very super stealthy. This might be a tactic that we can employ on basically everyone. So if we get 15, 20 of these ladies, and we decide, okay, well, we beat Olivine, or we beat, like, I'm not even like, oh my god, let's eat all of Olivine. I'm like, let's eat what Saffron was, and maybe we take a couple of these provinces, right? And then Violet City, you can come in and start finishing things off. That's great. I'll turn my attention to something else, you know? But what I'm super interested in seeing is if this Battle Girl stuff works, because then I could be like, okay, hey, Celadon, or okay, hey, Ekritique, right? Ekritique might be bad because they have so many units, they can patrol the shit out of things. But in general, right? And also Ekritique doesn't care about the income, so actually Ekritique is a very bad example. Very bad example, right? But like Celadon, or even Violet City, or Vermilion City down here, right? If this works, I could just turn the Battle Girls on them, and suddenly, boom, their stuff skyrockets. If I could ever get a fucking water random, amusingly, I could actually put rings of water breathing on all these Battle Girls, and I could go into the pond, and I could just fucking nuke Atlantis. I could do this to anybody. Anybody. Right? Any fucking buddy. It wouldn't matter. And that's really powerful. That's really, really, really powerful. So, I'm super excited to see how all that goes down. And everything else is just kind of like working in motion, right? The schools are working how they're supposed to be working. The Pokeballs are working how they're supposed to be working. All of that stuff is just kind of like it's now business as usual, right? So I'm super excited about all of that. Really, really hoping the Ampharos factories work. Really hoping they work, because if they do, right, and it's going to start small. I think we've got maybe 10, 15, 20, right, that might level next turn. Might have more than that. Holy shit. We actually might have more than that. We might have a whole shit ton. We might have like 60 or 70 that might level next turn. And that's a chunk of change, right? If they're all still working the way that they were working, right? They basically they are going to start generating a bunch of money, and that's really going to matter. So we'll see how it goes. I will see you all next time. Peace.